Now, there are some even saying, Mark, that Donald Trump might be wise to just pass on the first debate, wait till he's nominated, then debate him. What would you say to that?
Right on schedule. MAGA Republican propagandist Sean Hannity last night floating the idea that Donald Trump should not debate President Biden on June 27th when the first presidential debate is scheduled. You know, I posted on June 7th. It's like an easy prediction that I made. I wrote, "When do you predict Trump backs out of the debate?" I predict a few days before the debate with a typical dramatic Trump temper tantrum, but he will start ramping up his excuses soon. And then I enumerated the excuses that I think would be given. Biden not drug tested, it's rigged, the gag order, CNN rules anchors are fixed, Biden won't agree to other debates like a Fox debate, or all of the above. I think it's all of the above and probably some that I am missing. Let me show you the full clip right here of what Sean Hannity was saying. And he said that, look, he thinks that President Biden's going to be on drugs, which I predicted they would say, and that he'll be jacked up on stuff and it's going to be unfair. And then Donald Trump should not debate until after the convention. Again, I wish they weren't so predictable, but play this clip.
I do take Tommy's admonition really seriously. I think we'll see the return of jacked up Joe. Whatever Joe drank, ate, took before the State of the Union, maybe it was just Red Bull and caffeine pills, I don't know. Whatever it was, that was not the normal Joe. We never saw it before, and we haven't seen it since. But we will see it for the debate. Now, there are some even saying, Mark, that Donald Trump might be wise to just pass on the first debate, wait till he's nominated, then debate him. What would you say to that?
They have the same moves over and over again. Donald Trump says he's going to testify. I'll testify very powerfully. It's going to be the most powerful testimony you'll ever see. And then he doesn't testify. The gag order prevented me, whatever the lies are. And then he doesn't testify. His moves are very, very simple. Over the past weekend in that disastrous speech he gave in Vegas, as I said, he's going to start floating them. It's not going to happen right away. He has to do it in like a dramatic way a few days before, but he sets it up weeks in advance, so none of this surprises me. And so over the weekend, here's what Donald Trump said. He said that President Biden should have a cognitive test and take a drug test before the debate. And then Donald Trump says, I'm willing to take one. Here, play this clip.
Remember when Joe said it's great to be in Idaho and he was in Iowa? He always does that. If I ever did that, it would be over. They'd say that's the end of his political career. He's cognitively impaired. No. You know, I had a second test. I aced it. I aced both of them. Not easy to ace. Biden should have a cognitive test, number one. They say it's unconstitutional. That's a good excuse. He should have a cognitive test, and before the debate in 2 weeks, he should take a drug test, because I'm willing to take one.
So a fairly easy prediction to make right there. Let's not forget that when President Biden challenged Donald Trump to the debate and said, look, I'm happy to debate, one of the first things that went down was Lara Trump, Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, who co-chairs the RNC, because everybody who's a Trump runs the Republican Party now. She said that she thinks it's going to be rigged. Play this clip.
Not less. And you're right. It's rigged so heavily in Joe Biden's favor, but everything always is. You've got.
And then the next day, she continued her right-wing tour, and she goes, what we really need to get to the bottom of here is why there are two different President Bidens out there and what's going on. I mean, play the clip.
Will he actually demand the drug test, and will he get it? And if he doesn't, will he do the debate?
Well, I don't think it's an outrageous request at all. You know, people across this country, Eric, have a lot of questions about what is going on with Joe Biden. Why do you seem to see two very different versions of him in very rapid succession from time to time? We have a lot of questions that need to be answered. And you think about all of the charges and accusations over the years that they've leveled at Donald Trump. He's had to defend himself multiple times on multiple occasions and for multiple different things. Why not now with Joe Biden? All we want is fairness. And we want that across the board. We want fair elections. We want fair debates. And certainly if somebody is using some sort of a substance, that would be nice for the American people to know. So I don't think it's a request that is too outrageous by any measure. I certainly think it's something that should be looked into. And yes, while he jokes about it, it's actually very serious to consider the leader of the free world might, who knows what's going on with him. It's rather concerning.
You drug test athletes, you drug test cyclists, you drug test boxers, you drug test thoroughbred horse. I mean, you do this to make sure that there no nefarious things are going on. It's not a crazy thing to ask, and Trump will do. I'm sure Trump will do the same thing. Do you think he can?
Meanwhile, when President Biden was overseas, commemorating the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion, historic, solemn moment, President Biden said the following when he was asked during an ABC interview about the debate. Here, play this clip.
Let me ask you, as we sit here today, you're preparing to speak to the world about the fight for democracy, both abroad and at home. We are 3 weeks from this debate. What do you think you need to accomplish on that debate stage?
Say what I think. Let him say what he thinks. The things he said are off the wall. I want to be a dictator on day one. I want to move in a direction where he talks about, suspending the Constitution. All I have to do is hear what he says, remind people what he says and what I believe, what he believes. He's about him. I'm about the country.
And I think that what President Biden said there is the exact reason why Donald Trump's not going to debate, right? I mean, when you hear Donald Trump speak in a setting that's not Fox or that's not Newsmax or is not Mark Levin or is not one of these right-wing networks or Dr. Phil where they literally edit Trump piece by piece so that they put words together. And you see him give a speech like the one he gave in Vegas where he talks about how he'd rather be electrocuted than eaten by sharks, or he goes to the audience, I don't care about you, I just want your vote, or he says that he has some relationship to MIT and that makes him very smart. And I mean, and then he praises the January 6th insurrectionists and calls them hostages and says, this is what he said. Go back and watch our recap video where Trump says that he thinks that the January 6th hostages, is what he calls them, have been the most horrifically treated people in the history of our country. He said, you remember the other debate where the big moment, remember the big, let me show you why he's not going to debate. The big moment from the 2020 debate was what? Proud Boys stand back and stand by, right? Was one of the big moments. Play this clip.
Proud Boys stand back and stand by.
Okay, now imagine that, but Donald Trump saying the following, which is what he says now at all of his traveling fascist circus events that he calls speeches. Play this clip.
But we're not going to let this happen with our country anymore. We're taking back our country. So when we get in, it's going to go very rapidly. We're going to do a lot of things. We're going to look very strongly at J6. Those people, there has never been people treated more horrifically than J6 hostages.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why he's not going to debate. He has to have this, you talk about building a wall, which he never does. The media, right-wing propaganda media, which spews the lies into their audiences, but the corporate media, which puts up this wall in front of Trump to try to block the public from seeing how unhinged he is. You know, the corporate media goes, oh, President Biden's wearing sneakers, and what kind of shoes are these that he's wearing? Or, you know, oh, let's go after President Biden for sitting down slowly by using doctored footage, versus, have you seen like Donald Trump speeches? They're the most unhinged and nutty stuff, dangerous, weird stuff that you could ever imagine. But you know, it's clear that Donald Trump's the one who's not going to show up, not President Biden. President Biden shows up to where he says he's going to go. Donald Trump goes anywhere, anytime, any place. That's how you know it's nowhere, no time, not going to happen, because everything Donald Trump says is an absolute lie. Let's not forget, even shortly after President Biden said, okay, I'm ready to debate, Donald Trump said the following in a speech that he gave. Take a look at this. Play it.
Can't find his way off a stage, can't put two sentences together, although he has agreed to debate, so I don't know, maybe they know something. He's going to be so jacked up for those debates, you watch.
And then look, Hannity knows. Hannity did the interview with Trump where he's like, all right, calm down, focus. Remember this? Here, play this clip.
Let me go back to the foreign policy.
I say a lot of things about it, but it's whatever I say about it, it's real bad.
But let me stay focused for just a second, if I may, on the...
Or remember the moment where Hannity tried to tell Donald Trump, look, just tell the people that you don't want to really be a dictator. Tell him, Donald, that you don't want to be a dictator. And Donald Trump refused. Despite all of the coaching, Donald Trump refused to just say exactly the line he was being fed from Hannity. Play this clip.
You said, I would be dictator for the day and just to secure the border and drill for oil. I thought it was tongue-in-cheek. I was sitting there with you. However, my question is a very serious one. You know, people are claiming you want retribution. People are claiming you want what has happened to you done to Democrats. Would you do that ever?
Look, what's happened to me has never happened in this country before. And it has to stop because...
Wait a minute. I want to hear that again. It has to stop.
Well, it does have to stop because we're not going to have a country
And if you're
anymore.
elected, what does that mean? Define that.
Look, what I've gone through, nobody's ever gone through. I'm a very legitimate person. I built a great business. Everything's been... I have been under siege. Nobody's ever seen anything like this in this country. Now, in other countries,
So we know what's up right there. Hannity's pushing Donald Trump's view right there that Trump's never going to debate. We know what's happening. It's so obvious. But that's why let's call it out now. Trump's weak. He's weak. He's not going to debate. It's simple. Easy. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers. Thanks to your support. We appreciate you.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.